my encouragement to contractors is to leave the ego at the door and come in with an open heart, willing to change and willing to accept critiques and accountability in such a way that you can change your business for the betterment of the business, but also for the betterment of your people.
Welcome to Trades Bros, formerly known as Blue Collar Bros, a home services podcast focused on scaling family business and discovering what differentiates the best of the best within the home services industry. We are your bros, the Yarbrough brothers. We're down a bro today. Will, hope you're having fun in Branson. And as always, our producer Bryce is here with us. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to address the name change. We're pulling back the curtain on what we've been building, the real tools, real growth, real growing pains, and a new playbook for scaling trades businesses. So, guys, let's get after it.
How's it going?
Howdy. Good morning.
We're back. I feel like, every time we do these episodes, I feel like we have a lot to address. A lot of changes have been made. And this is the biggest change of all, Tuck.
It is. And it's also I feel like we got to get out of the habit of the episodes being we're back.
I know.
we leave pretty often.
Well, I think going forward, this is the new setup, new microphones, new setup, new office space, whatever you want to call it for the podcast, at least. It's going to make producing a whole lot easier. And so we'd like to do these. What do you think, about once a month, Tuck?
I think that would be the goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the amount of, we're going to touch on the amount of content that we're going to start putting out. And there's more than just the podcast now. So right now we, before this, we had been relying just on, Blue Collar Bros as the kind of the workhorse for content. And now with Trades.Consulting, and we will address the logos on the screen. This is Trade Bros brought to you by Trades.Consulting. So we will address all of that as we go through this episode. But yeah, so we have a lot of things to talk about today. Ultimately, guys, what I wanted to get into is the fact that this is our 12th episode, and this is our third venue change.
13th episode.
Okay, I stand corrected. It's our 13th episode and our third venue change. So, we're settling in. We're just finding our stride here.
That's right, man. Hey, we're just 2 years into this, Hey, I just want to tell you, we started this podcast, Blue Collar Bros, started November or October of 2023. So here we are.
Dude, that makes me uncomfortable.
And I want to also address, you just talked about the amount of content we're putting out now. And I'm realizing people are going to start realizing how few shirts I actually wear outside of work. I mean, I'm going to be repeating a lot of the same shirts. I wear the same 4 T-shirts outside of work. So
it's okay. Colby's carrying the weight with the unique shirts with the Hawaiian vibes today.
I showed up to party.
I showed up. That was the first thing you said when you walked in the door this morning. I was ready for it as a tone setter.
I was.
You summoned your inner Luke Gustafsson.
I did. I tried my best.
Oh, goodness. Well, guys, so where we've been is we have been, implementing a lot of changes here at Yarbrough & Sons, as well as building some really cool tools through Trades.Consulting. So Trades.Consulting is a business that we started. Really, I think we formed the LLC in August of 2024, and it just now started doing business this year within the last 2 months, really. And so we've been building that. We've also been just doing a ton of process changes. And so really, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of parse out different topics for each other here, and let us each drive our own topic. So I know I sent the agenda over. However, we're actually going to shift it up a little bit. And so, Colby, I'm going to throw you at the bus. And, we're going to start with
why'd you let me read it?
I'm keeping you on your toes, man. No. But
going to let him read it, but I'm gonna change it as soon as we get going.
Well, I feel like this intro has been a lot of Bryce and I talking, so I want to get you involved.
Yeah.
So, Colby, talk about everything that we've kind of changed here at Yarbrough & Sons. What has driven the change? What processes have we learned? Things like that, and we will get rocking with it.
A lot. So, throw me under the bus here. I would say probably the biggest changes is process development and and communication across the teams about those processes. So long story short, Yarbrough, we've grown Yarbrough to what was it? We hit 10 million last year
Yep.
in this first year. So we're very excited about that growth. And then, but we felt like we've been stuck at that, like around in that range for a while. And there's just some humps that we're trying to have a hard time getting over. And so we joined a group, not a networking group, but a coaching group that has basically said, hey, here's where you suck. Here's where you need to get better. And it's been fun. It's been good. I think the older I've gotten, the more excited I am whenever I am provided accountability in an area, because now I know how to change, And so like, I think a lot of what this group has done in the coaching and whatnot, what we've learned, and working to implement those changes and why we're implementing those changes, communicating why we're doing these changes to the team, is really exciting. And the older I get, the more excited I am for someone to say, hey, here's an area where you need to improve. You suck. This is, and just take it on the chin. Don't, just take accountability. Cause I think oftentimes, like within business, and especially with something that you're building, there's a big sense of pride. And it's like, this is what I've built. This is what I've been doing. And no one can knock me off this horse. I'm good at what I do. I've built a successful business. And then whenever someone comes in and says, hey, here's an area where you struggle in, or and I think the majority of pushback that you will ever receive in contractors and having conversations like this is pride gets in the way of growth, and they don't realize it. And so my encouragement to contractors is to leave the ego at the door and come in with an open heart, willing to change and willing to accept critiques and accountability in such a way that you can change your business for the betterment of the business, but also for the betterment of your people. And so
louder for the people in the back.
Yes. So we've experienced a ton of changes over the last, I'd probably say since
January. Last 6 months. I mean, so I'll tee you up here.
I guess I would argue maybe October.
Maybe so.
September, October. Yeah.
I was really going off of whenever we implemented call by call sales and all of that, and what that did for us. Colby has been running contextually. So Colby's been running full-time residential sales for 9 years, something like that.
9 years. Yeah.
And so
I started selling in 2016.
Okay. Gotcha. I was putting you at 17.
It's been a minute.
And so there's been multiple times through Colby's career thus far that like we've, changed different things. So like whenever he first started, obviously you got to learn how to sell air conditioners, having not sold air conditioners before. And then, a couple years in, his knucklehead younger brother comes in and says, hey, we got to change our pricing structure, and here's what it has to be. And so it like more than nearly doubled the price.
It was my first moment to be like, Colby, you take it on the chin. We're losing money. I'm like, okay.
You're right.
Don't like that sentence.
Don't want to do it again. And so then we changed our pricing structure, and you're able to continue selling through that and maintaining a strong closing rate. And then to now this year, really like September of last year, we brought in a completely green salesman, and then we ran with him out in the field for 5 months or so, and then we completely changed the entire sales process to a call by call sales process. So touch on that and like the impact that that's had just standalone, but then also like the problems that it has kind of caused, the unforeseen roadblocks that we've hit that we've had to navigate around.
So to give context, so we had a new salesman join the team, and I had been training him for 2 years, basically having conversations over the phone. I was like, hey, this may be an opportunity, maybe a position. To give a little bit of context, he was a policeman in Tulsa, and he and I were good friends in college, and we basically had a conversation that he was looking for a way to get out of police work because he's got 2 kids. He had some life events in Tulsa where he lost some colleagues, in the field. And so he was like, I don't want my kids to grow up without a dad. So I'm trying to find something else. I don't know what I would do. So anyways, introduced a conversation where we would basically, I'd say, hey, this may be an opportunity. At least have you an opportunity to get an interview. Let's start talking what this looks like. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm interested. And trained him, talked over the phone, and was training him in a what would be considered a in-person consultation about new HVAC equipment in a home. And so I trained him in that process, the process that I understood and could do pretty well in. And so I was excited to train him in that area. But then as it got closer for him to join the team, and as it got closer to him, because he joined in, what was it? I think we sent him a letter in June, and then he ended up got here in September.
Yeah, it ended up joining full time, like first / like early mid September.
Yeah. So made it here, and was trained him in that model. But we had a lot of conversations up to that point that we had learned through a call by call management type, and that it was
from the
interesting.
From the McWilliams team, Blue Cardinal team. Yeah. That was who we kind of robbed and duplicated from.
And so we decided we had conversations, and so I think a big recommendation is when you are hiring, hire well. And so I think I commend the processes and the adoption of processes to like coaching and stuff like that, but like when your team is willing to kind of go with the flow and be flexible and be excited about change for the betterment of the business, you can't ask for anything better. And so I'm very thankful for Jacob and how he has kind of rolled with the punches. So
on the process side of things, the roadblocks, what are some roadblocks that we hit that we didn't anticipate with the service techs, roadblocks that we hit with the communications team?
So we learned about the process, and we're wanting to implement it like start of the year. And so we had to build, I think probably the biggest roadblock was figure out how to have all of our invoices and sales software under one umbrella. And so that was a big move. So that was time consuming. That was the biggest roadblock because we could not start that until we figured out how to get it to a fast pace. And that took a lot of time.
And we're still doing it.
And we're still doing it. We're still learning. We use at Yarbrough's, we use Service Titan. And so we had to figure out how to quickly build estimates from the office to get to the team in a timely manner. And so when we first started it, it was robust, and everything was kind of itemized out in a way. And the quote took like way too long to build. It was like 30 minutes. And so
it's like a 45-minute process.
Yes. Yeah. And so it was terrible. It was not fast. And so it just wasn't ideal. And so I kept digging, kept figured out where we dialed down where it takes to build the full estimate with every option. It takes 6 minutes.
So for the SRM.
Yes. So you cut that thing down from 40 minutes, basically like 45 minutes to 6 minutes.
Now, and I want to give some clarity to it too, though, is that is only possible because the expectation with the technician was then set to, hey, whenever you see it meets this criteria, you start taking the pictures and documenting all the information necessary right at the start. And that's what kind of gave way to the 6 to 8 minute build time.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's a combination of a lot of things. And so being able to build a quote in a reasonable amount of time, it requires a lot of pictures because you're not there. And so you want to make sure that you're quoting in such a way where you're not missing stuff. Because at the end of the day, like, we want to install equipment that's going to work for years to come. And if we omit items that need to be changed, then one, it's bad on us. That's for not communicating that to the homeowner. Two, we want to make sure that we're installing systems as close to manufacturer specifications as possible. And so we needed to do that, and it needed to be fast, and it needed to be quick because our technicians, they're already like, especially whenever it's a trouble call, like they may have been already been there for 2 hours. And so like they don't have time for a super long conversation. And so, and that was the next hurdle was after introducing this model of communication, it's like, okay, we got the quote down to 6 minutes. So take your pictures, and whenever you call, like, let's be prepared to have a conversation. And so it's like, well, how long does that conversation need to be for it to be successful? And so I haven't looked at the average time recently, but I know that we went from like, it was like an hour long conversation of going over it was essentially 4 options, communicating every fine detail. And it was a lot of time, and it was almost too much information for a homeowner. And so,
especially to be communicated just over the phone.
Yes. And so we pared down our sales process, in which we took it from complicated to simple. and narrowed down those conversations pretty easily. And we called it the decision tree. And so you're kind of walking the customer through the options that are offered, and you kind of like, hey, which route? There's 2 ways that we can do this. We can go kind of a high efficiency route or a standard efficiency route. Which route appeals most to you? And they're like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, high efficiency, you save money down the road. You pay a little bit more for it. You get better comfort, comes with a lot of benefits. Or we can do standard efficiency, where you save more money up front, but you may pay a little bit more in utilities down the road. So which route would you want to do? And you kind of, when the homeowner's like, well, I think high efficiency is kind of the route that I'd like to take. All right, cool. And then we just show them that option. And
Tucker,
so,
is your light flickering?
I don't know what's happening. I'm strobing though.
Is it your lamp or your light?
Visibly, nothing is happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw it on screen. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's definitely my camera. If my lamp flickered a minute ago when the air conditioner turned on, so we need to upgrade to a high efficiency system in this 100-year-old building that we have. And then now it's just kind of stuck in a little strobe pattern. So Cole, on the process side, like obviously, like this was the call by call deal that we did. Through this message to other contractors, maybe not like call by call, but like when it comes to process adoption, what is something that you've learned that like that somebody else could bottle up and take and run with as kind of a nugget of wisdom that they could use for process implementation on their side of things?
Communicate that process every time, every opportunity you get. The analogy or the metaphor I use is growing up. A story that I use is growing up. If we walked out of a room and the light was on, Dad would say, "Hey, turn that light off." And sometimes he'd mess with us, and he'd wait. He's like, "Hey, I've got something for you." As we're like walking further away from the light switch, and you'll get up close to me, and he's
or it would have already been downstairs.
Yes, yeah, and he's like, "Hey, come here. Go turn the light off." and so it became this consistent, like he'd introduce it in fun ways, entertaining ways that made us both laugh. And so I'd go turn the light off upstairs. But like, I can't leave a room to this day without hearing Dad's voice say, "Turn the light off."
I've now traumatized Cass. Into she every time she leaves the room, turn the light off, turn it off. Come on. Even though it's like, now that we have LED lights, it's fractions of a cent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We'll put those nickels into a savings account.
I think something that like really has been fun and cool to see is up until we really went to call by call management during the summertime, and specifically like, I mean, I would say like spring to the end of summer and then like winter. I was solo a lot of times, like doing the kind of the higher level business stuff. And so not saying it's like, not saying where we're at was because of like I was the solo one, but I was here making the decisions and trying to like keep the ship afloat while you and Will were out selling stuff. And Dad's still running around selling stuff too. And so a lot of times it was playing HR and IT and all of that, and
Yeah.
then like also trying to do forecasting and things. And so it's been super fun to see and super rewarding to see like you and Will step into the process creation side of things, because I think y'all's leadership styles is much more y'all are much more like social leaders than I am. I think I have a bad tendency of like I just grab the chain and take off running, which can be a strength, and there's a time and place for that. We've talked about the different leadership styles, and yours, Colby, is you're more of like you're the come beside leader. You're gonna jump in the foxhole with somebody and like make them feel good about the situation and figure out, okay, why are we looking at this the way that we do? And you're still in a foxhole, you're still knee deep in mud, but your superpower is the fact that you leverage that out of people. And then similar with Will. Will's Will's kind of a sheepdog. Will's from behind, kind of shepherding, making sure that everybody's staying on path. And so it's been super fun and rewarding. And I think something that I would tell other contractors, because I didn't see it in myself. I don't feel like I really, didn't have the time to do it either, but is bring your team in the process creation. And whenever you talk about communicating that vision, is if you make sure that they have that buy-in, or make sure that they're a part of the process creation, they're going to have buy-in at levels they didn't before. Whereas like my fatal flaw is I would get a system good enough, and then I would move on to the next fire. Whereas like Colby, I've been joking with him saying that he's a ferret on fentanyl here recently, and once he once he finds a problem, Will's pretty similar. Will has that same tick of like he wants to, once he sees something like a thread not pulled tight, he wants to take that thread, pull it tight, and tie it off.
Following the thread to its completion. Yeah.
Making processes brought to you by OCD and ADHD.
Yeah. And so it's a superpower though. So I think to other contractors is bring your team in on the process creation, because if they help create it, they're going to own it. So like yesterday, you and our CSR Ricky, y'all sat back here and built out a new coding system for our job types. And and that's going to get implemented because you have the buy-in of someone on the comms team. And so I think that's a huge deal that contractors need to heed, is bring your team in on the process creation, because they will help you see things that you didn't see before. And also they will own it more if they are a part of it.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And I think just to relate that to, our processes, Tucker, you and I work together, pretty closely. And whenever we roll out a new process, a big part of that conversation is, okay, how are we going to do this? And then the next part of it is the buy-in from the team. How are we going to convey this information to the team to make sure that they're bought in, they understand the why? And because they are the how. We have to tell them the why, they are the how. And so it has to come to the team. And I agree. They just have to have buy-in, and that's important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I to kind of what Tucker was saying earlier, that was a surprising thing for me that I didn't understand why, or at least we got into it where we were looking at our organization chart and we're trying to figure out what hats are being worn by who, like where are people fitting, what roles do we play in the business, and how many hats are we wearing within the business? And Tucker learned that he was wearing almost every hat in some way, shape, or form, but it makes so much sense, because like when we were out, Tucker was the solopreneur for 5 months out of the year because everybody else was out trying to sell stuff. And so the internal problems that we would have within the business was really up for him to solve and to overcome. And so I would say for contractors, if you find yourself like as hard as it is, delegate sales to someone else and work on your business and get out of the field and into the office. And so, cause you don't realize how much your team is struggling inside until you spend enough time with them to realize that. And so,
also
so I would
intentional communication, because to Colby's point, like I feel like 5-6 months of the year, I would run around like a firefighter, going from it was, okay, well, I'm going to do payroll, and then I'm going to sign checks, and then I'm going to deal with a pissed off customer, and then I'm going to deal with a pissed off technician. And then, and then somebody stops by because they're fundraising and they want to talk to me about, how we can sponsor the latest pickleball court. And so it's like this never, and Colby, I promise if a pickleball court opportunity comes up, we'll try to jump on it.
I'm for that one.
But it takes like that recognition of realizing, okay, I've reached we've reached the bottleneck. And so like dad jokes that he's the $5 million man. And where we're at with Yarbrough and Sons, I feel like we're in a place where it's like, okay, if dad is a $5 million man, is like, okay, well then, I on top of him, I'm the additional $6 million man, and then so now it's like, all right, well, how do we continue to leverage this up into newfound growth, newfound opportunity? Because you can't do it all. I mean, and that's the reality of it. And ultimately, like your ability to spend intentional time with the team, like I've seen it, like even just yesterday, like, our culture has always been super positive, but even just yesterday, like at the end of the day, I heard the entire comms team and Bryce, they were up there cackling at the front desk, having a great time, and I think that is direct dividends of the entire ownership and leadership team spending intentional time with everyone on the team, making around, checking in, and not just talking business, but just having a moment to talk with people, will pay dividends in every way, shape, and form.
Yep. Your investment in your team to communicate to them in such a way where the changes that we were making is for the betterment of the business, but whenever you communicate it in a way that it's like, hey, we're trying to make your life easier. We're trying to make your job position easier, and we're trying to make us more effective in the field and in the office. And the way that we do that is through these certain things. And so, it's been super fun to see.
I think so. Speaking to contractors who are listening to this and they're going through changes here, that's the consistent thing. Change is the constant thing, right? I think that we've gone through a roller coaster of emotions with our comms team, with our team overall, with the changes that we're rolling out. And that's just a natural, normal thing. I think right now, if you are, you've built the business that you have built. It works. It's gotten you to where you're at, but you have to change something. You have to leverage some new tool, some new process that Tucker's talking about, that Colby's talking about, in order to get to that next stage. And your team will, they're going to get grumpy. They're going to they don't want to change. They don't want to change their process or their daily work. I think we've done a really good job of just consistently changing, and we've gotten better at communicating the why and communicating how it's going to work and how it impacts their job. And to talk about, like yesterday, comms team is laughing. Like we are actually going through the biggest changes we've ever gone through. Like we're rolling out some big stuff. And so for our team right now in the dead of summer to be laughing at the end of the day is amazing. But I think it's because we've fostered that. We've built this culture and expectation that, like, hey, we're all in this together. We're building something big. We all have that buy-in. And that's been the biggest change for us, I think, is finally seeing, how do we not only roll out a change, but how do we get that buy-in and that the team to really care and to understand why we're doing it. And I think that makes everyone emotionally a lot better. I think that makes for a better time. So my message to contractors listening to this right now is that you're going to go through some ups and downs. And I think in the beginning, if you're rolling out a big change, your team will, understandably get a little grumpy, but you have to consistently kind of push them in the right direction.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more.
And recognize that you are a force multiplier. And so your attitude
in either direction.
And so force multiplier in either direction. And so your attitude and your heart position towards the changes that are being made is going to affect your team in a positive or negative way. And so you come at it with a great attitude and a willingness to learn and say, hey, if you're the one that's taking accountability and being happy about it, then you're setting an example for the rest of your team. Because at the end of the day, people don't like accountability, but if you approach it with hey, this is a safe place for us to have accountability, because that means we can do something about it. I walked in the office the other day and I had messed up on something. I sent Casey the wrong PDF form or something. Anyways, it was something silly. And she pulled up, she said, Colby, there's nothing in this email. I was like, there's not, I sent it to you. And anyways, I go back anyway. She's like, no, it's the old work order that we used to have. I was like, oh, I'm a knucklehead. That's my favorite problem to solve. And then, you take it on the chin. You're like, hey, this is where I messed up on. And that's a silly thing that happened, but it's that attitude towards those changes and attitude towards whenever you are wrong and where you need the change. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, Bryce, let's touch on the Trade Bros brought to you by Trades.Consulting.
Okay,
So
big stuff.
I'm going to let you take off and run with Trades.Consulting, what it is, where we're going, what the vision is. It's a little bit ethereal, but we're going to stick the landing here.
Okay, great. Yeah. So like Tucker said earlier, Trades.Consulting is something that was officially, created as a business last August, I think you were saying, but this has been something that Tucker and I have been going back and forth with for the last few years. It feels like it's been very refined. It's been very, chewed up and spit out. And here we are. We've been live with Trades.Consulting for over a month now. And we ultimately, see this being what we always desired, what we always wanted, as contractors working here at Yarbrough & Sons. It's a resource hub for contractors that connects them with the best tools, the best agencies, the best information that can help them get to that next spot in their business. And so it's really designed for contractors who are, one, they have that growth mindset. They're ready to grow. They're ready for that next stage. We are providing tools for them to be able to do that. And so right now we've rolled out, and Tucker's going to go into it later, but we've rolled out a robust tool that makes your sales process easier, and it's working for Yarbrough & Sons. And so it's really exciting because we get to help out our fellow contractors. We're able to be there for them, to advise them. That's really the consulting part of Trades.Consulting, but we also bring the tools to help them do it. So I think a big shtick is that I've been saying lately is that a lot of agencies, I'll instead of agencies, I'll say like software developers. A lot of software developers will roll out a tool for contractors, and they'll hand them the tool, and they don't ever teach them how to use it. And I think that's something that a lot of contractors could get frustrated by. And so whenever we're developing a tool, we are here every step of the way to show you not only how it works, but the proof of how it works, because we're using it ourselves. And so that's really when we say, like, Trades.Consulting is, for contractors by contractors. It's because we're testing everything that we roll out. So there's nothing that we're going to roll out to a contractor, if it's a software tool or if it's a process or anything like that, that we haven't tried ourselves, that we haven't found useful for our own contracting business. And so that's ultimately what Trades.Consulting is. We're excited to see where it goes. We want to connect contractors with the best resources available out there. And so we're going to go into the schedule later about what we're rolling out, but we got some big things going on. And right now, what you could do if you're listening to this, if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy this kind of content, we are actually launching a weekly newsletter with actionable tips for your business. If it's going to be finance, if it's going to be leadership or marketing, I think that a lot of contractors need to be met more than halfway on that information. And so I'm never going to send you a newsletter that you can't immediately take action on. I think that's something that whenever you're in the thick of it, you're in the trenches, you're running your business, your attention matters to me. I'm not going to take up your attention frivolously. I'll try to say that word. So it matters to me that if you open our email, I want you to be able to read it, understand it, and take action on it. And I think there's just too much noise out there, and I think there's too many distractions, and that's just not something that we plan on doing. So our newsletter is called The Tune Up, and it'll be in your inbox once a week. So we'll probably have a link somewhere available on this video that you guys can check it out. But if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, go to Trades.Consulting, and you'll see the button in the top right to subscribe.
Yep, absolutely. Also, too, with Trades.Consulting, I think it was born out of a realization that Superman isn't coming to save your business. Superman's not coming. You have to be the hero in your own journey here. And I think all too long, and we fell for it as well. It's like looking for the next best practices group, or looking for the next best vendor to help us out, or whatever it is. At the end of the day, the most a vendor, the most a best practices group can be, is an additive to your success, not a supplement for your success. So with Trades.Consulting, one of the things that we really wanted to be mindful of is recognizing that Bryce, Will, and Colby have no interest in functionally doing your marketing, functionally doing your business management, or functionally doing your finances. But one of the things we do want to do is put out content, give coaching advice on, hey, here's what we've done in these situations, come alongside and help be an additive to your success, because ultimately you're the captain in charge of the ship. You get to decide if it's a little dinghy or if it's a full blown pirate ship. Or if you want to be more pent up than us and actually run a navy, we prefer the pirate ship analogy. But
America's first navy.
Exactly. Hey, that's a great lesson from the fat electrician.
Yep.
Is the privateers. But and that's what Bryce was talking about, is like with the tagline of Trades. The tagline for Trades is forged in home services, founded for growth. And everything that we're talking about here on Trade Bros, everything we put out for Trades.Consulting, and anything we talk about for GetQuote are things that we are actively doing or actively have done and have implemented. We're not going to preach something that we're not practicing. This is ultimately at worst, guys, this venture of Trades.Consulting and Trade Bros is just accountability for us. At best, we get to help other people be successful along with us, because this is a building journey. We haven't arrived. If you want to listen to contractors who have built $100+ million businesses, they're out there. However, I think that with those folks who have built those huge businesses, the advice a lot of times is, well, you just do it. You just do X, Y, or Z. And it's like, well, that doesn't help me out at all. I don't know what I'm actively the IT guy, the HR professional, and the pissed off customer handler. I don't know what you mean by just do it. So with Trades, the goal with Trades.Consulting is to come alongside contractors, help them find success, and be a resource hub that is not only super valuable, but also gives a clear path for how you can scale up in your business.
Yeah, and just reiterating what I said before, but I think it's really what we've wanted. I think there was multiple times in our marketing process, or our sales process, all these situations that we find ourselves in. We wish that there was someone we could just talk to and be like, hey, here's what we're thinking. How do we roll this out? What's this look like? And so I think ultimately that's our desire with Trades.Consulting, is to be that group for you guys. And so to walk with you and on your growth journey for your business.
And at bare minimum, you can watch our growth journey, because we're going to keep growing. We're going to take over Oklahoma, guys.
Slowly but surely, we're getting after it, man.
And one of the ways that we're going to take it over, perfect segue, is GetQuote. So GetQuote is our online instant estimate tool that we have built here at Trades.Consulting. I didn't like any of the options that were out there for online instant estimates, so I decided, life gets a whole lot more interesting when the question you ask yourself isn't how are we going to do this, but how hard can it be? And so I took off and decided to build my own and build our own. So Yarbrough & Sons has been active with GetQuote for right at 5 weeks. And I'm looking over here on my other screen real fast, because I want to see the actual number before as what it is right now for 5 weeks. So 5 weeks in, total GetQuotes quoted out through our estimate.yarbroughandsons.com is 105 quotes generated. We've had over 4,000 people visit the page. Those are unique page visits. We've had $433,000 of revenue quoted. And we have closed 61,652, and got word at the end of the day yesterday that we had a job book yesterday at the end of the day for a estimate on Monday, and that job is quoted out for about $18,000. And the guy, Ricky, said the guy sounded very highly motivated. So that's great. Might have something that pushes us over the $80,000 mark in the first 5 weeks, and I would be absolutely just tickled pink with that. I mean, that's huge. And ultimately, with GetQuote, one of the things that we get pushback on is like, hey, what if I give my prices and they just take them and run with it? To which my response is, well, okay, that's one way to look at it.
What if you give them your prices and they call you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and also too, I think, what if you looked at a car online? If you were looking at cars online and you're on Auto Trader or whatever website it was, and that car just said call for pricing. Are you going to call for pricing? Well, no, obviously not. You're not going to call for pricing. You're going to scroll to the next one. And I think that the day is here where consumers are savvy enough to know that, hey, we want to know at least what it costs. And again, on our instance of GetQuote, we have it stated several times that, hey, this is a tight estimate. It's not exact, because we need to get somebody out there to get eyes on to make sure that what we have quoted will actually work. I think we've sold right at 5 things, and we've been able to price match 3 of them. Because we were able to plug and play, really didn't have to do anything. And then 2 of them, we ended up having to step it up by a couple grand because we had to do ductwork, we had to replace the line set or whatever it was. However, I think the fear that contractors have of like, well, if they see my price, they're gonna hold me to that thing. Guys, I think we're like, go ahead.
First GetQuote sale. It was like a 1.5 ton, 2 ton system.
Oh, I remember this customer's name. It's etched in my brain because I was so excited.
And the quote came in, and basically it was, the guy was ready to go for about 11, is what the quote ended up being. Anyways, our guys went out there, took pictures. Anyways, we found that the guy had no insulation. We also found that the hot water tank was from the 90s. And so I talked with him, and basically I said, hey, I can do it for the 11 if that's what you want to do. However, we can install the best system on your house, but if you don't have any insulation, you're going to be paying for it in utilities. Good. And so we gave him an offer for, hey, we can take care of the hot water tank too. And so that sale ended up being around, I think it was like 15 or 16. And so
stepped it up. Yeah, you added about $5 grand.
Yeah. And
I
so
think I want to say something about GetQuote here. So I think what's interesting is that we're seeing very real. I was able to give a demo to a contractor earlier this week. Actually, it was a great conversation and learning their take on it. But one of the things they said during our call that resonated with me is that our conversion rate was very realistic. The conversions, because there's a lot of people playing around with the tool, getting that pricing, and kind of it's the customer who wants to do their research before they ever have to call someone, right? But our conversion rate right now is about 20%, and so
it's fallen to 16.
Oh no.
However, once we sell the guy on Friday, it'll be back up to 20.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So whenever you're saying the closing rate, are you saying of all the estimates that have?
It's not closing rate, it's conversion rate. So it's the amount of people, the amount of people who are viewing the tool and getting a quoted price, and the number of those people that go with the sale that end up closing. So I guess it's the conversion rate. So you got 100 people use the tool, and then you get 20 people.
I'll simplify it. So, because I did the math on it, I'm the guy who designed the dashboard. So it is total quoted revenue versus total sold revenue. So that's the conversion rate. Is how much revenue have we quoted versus how much revenue have we attributed to the tool? Because there's an opportunity. Like, we've had 2 sales where the quote was technically incomplete. The quote wasn't finished. They left it. They abandoned the form, and they never actually selected a price. So that's not counted as a quoted estimate. It is counted as a run of the tool. So that's in that 105 plus quotes that we've generated. But then we go in and we say, okay, well, they bought this piece of equipment even though they never even saw a quote. And so that is the game of, okay, this tool, GetQuote, we're calling it a tool, but we'll just, from henceforth, guys, we call it GetQuote. I'm speaking to myself. GetQuote is more than just it's not a final conversion piece, but it is the final link that can transition attention to conversion. It is the thing that allows you to bridge that gap, because right now contractors struggle, I think, the hardest with the online attention. You can generate a ton of TikTok followers, you can generate a ton of YouTube and Facebook followers, but having a means to convert that attention into conversion, into closed sales, is the biggest deal. And so we built the tool in such a way that, hey, like, even if they don't get a quote, we still track everything so that we can see, okay, how can we follow up with this person?
Yeah. Now, Tucker, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
I've got a question.
Oh, okay.
It has to do with what we were talking about.
Okay.
So of the quotes that were given, is that quotes that were where our technician actually was able to go?
No, there was never a technician out at the house. $433,000 was quoted with no technician in the home.
Okay. So I would like to know, just this is personal. What is the closing rate on when we actually get to send the technician out?
I think we're 5 for 5. I think we're 100%.
That's so interesting. What a qualified lead.
So Tuck, I think we'd be tell contractors more about if they're interested in GetQuote, what they can start
absolutely.
doing. We're currently booking demos.
Yeah, we are currently booking demos. So you can go to Trades.Consulting/GetQuote, all one word. You can see the live metrics as to how much has been quoted out on every GetQuote instance. However, that is just us right now. So those are our stats. But as soon as you get on board, we'll start adding everything in there. But go to Trades.Consulting/GetQuote. I know the URL a little bit weird. We're still kind of in that weird place in the internet where where we want .coms or .orgs or nets or whatever. Consulting is the .com. It's so Trades.Consulting/GetQuote, all one word. And on there, we've got a couple of videos that just give an overview of what GetQuote is. We've got our advanced features where I show the dashboard where the contractor has full access to change their pricing, edit anything that they have inside of the tool, as well as keep track of what sales have been made. And then you can also either schedule a demo with us right there, or if you're so sold and bought in that you just want to start your onboarding right then and there, you are more than welcome to. So the pricing on it is $450 a month. If you want to go month to month with no contract, you can cancel that at any time. Or if you want to pay annually, it is $382.50 per month, but paid on an annual basis. We are waiving the build fees and the implementation fees for Bryce. We're going to go ahead and say for podcast listeners, I will give them until the end of July.
You know what? We need a code. We need to have a special code for podcast listeners. That'd be a great one. Let's make it up right now. What's the code, Tuck? Come on.
It's the bro code.
Code bro, but it has to be spelled right.
Okay, so code bro. If you type in code bro, we'll have to implement this later. But I'm thinking we'll get for podcast listeners, we'll waive the setup fee, get you started out immediately. We're excited to roll this thing out.
Setup fee is normally $27.50. So we are waiving that.
Yep. And
you look like you're about to say something, so I paused.
Oh, no, you're good. But also, just to announce, changes came with the podcast. GetQuote will be the official sponsor of the podcast. So we will, probably talk about GetQuote in about every single episode, just to kind of give it a plug, let people know what's going on. And again, we would not be talking about this if we didn't see results with it, right? So Yarbrough & Sons has seen such great results with it that it's hard not to suggest it to your fellow contractors.
I was going to say, I can't stress this enough. We would not be talking about this if we didn't have tens of thousands of dollars in sales and hundreds of thousands of dollars in quotes already generated in the first 5 weeks. I don't want to show our low light reel. I want to show our highlight reel, and GetQuote has made the highlight reel pretty easy to show off. Ultimately, guys, we're an open book with everything that we do at Yarbrough & Sons and at Trades. That's why the pricing is very clearly stated on the website. There is no gimmick, no contract, no fluff, no gotcha clauses in it. Guys, ultimately, like the goal with GetQuote, the goal with Trades.Consulting, it's the same goal that we have with our team here at Yarbrough & Sons, is we want to create success for the people who choose to spend their time with us. So ultimately, that is what the vision, the goal, and the desire we have for GetQuote is, and for Trades. So when it comes to onboarding with us, it's as close to a handshake deal as you can get in the year 2025. And we want to operate with that level of integrity. And so with that, guys, we have I want to just brief over our content schedule, the goal of content that we have. Also, I left out on the content schedule the podcast, I guess. Podcast, the goal is once a month.
Yep.
So Bryce, we obviously our big thing is content marketing.
For
Yarbroughs and for Trades. Touch on, so what are we doing for Yarbrough & Sons, where people, if they're curious as to what we're doing with Yarbrough & Sons, where can they see that new kind of refresh look at our content creation?
So are you saying specifically if they want to check out Yarbrough & Sons content, how we're implementing that? Yeah.
Specifically the Dispatch Coffee Hour.
Oh, the Dispatch Coffee Hour. That's right. So we are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. We're doing the Dispatch Coffee Hour. It's been a really fun way to kind of engage with our local customers, our local audience.
And one guy from North Carolina.
And one guy from North Carolina, because we do go live on YouTube and you kind of get a more national audience on there, but it's been a lot of fun. Tuck, I think we had a great week doing it. We got up here at the office early, made some coffee, and just hung out. And it's a very casual kind of approach to the day. Our technicians are getting ready for their first calls of the day, and so we kind of get to play, digital CSR for the first, hour of the day, and see what people need, if it's HVAC or if it's plumbing, and kind of get to ask them questions about, is there something we could help you with today? So I think it's been a really fun way to, just engage with our community and keep building that audience.
Yeah, and Colby got to jump on Thursday, so that was pretty fun. We got to sit there and debate about humidity and variable capacity and all sorts of stuff. Yes.
No, it's been a great time. Yeah.
And then on Fridays from 7:20 a.m. until about 8 a.m., we're going to be doing Trades Talk. So Trades Talk Live is any variation of me, Will, Colby, and Bryce hopping on for 40-ish minutes on Friday mornings and just talking about what we've learned this week, what we're implementing this week, the things that we're struggling with in our own business, the things that we've seen other people struggling with, and how we're trying to overcome those. When we're talking about transparency, that is the highest degree of transparency that we can offer, which is basically a weekly accountability check-in of our own that you guys just get to be privy to if you join the live or catch it once it gets posted.
And I think Trades Talk Live is kind of a soft podcast because it's it's really cool, because if you're a contractor, if you want to engage with us, get on early, talk to us. It's a Q&A session. And so it's basically this format that we're doing on this podcast with way less of an agenda and way more conversational and Q&A style. And so it'd be a fun way to kind of get some questions answered.
And all times that we're stating are Central Time, by the way.
Yep, Central Time.
Yeah, and then so we have Trades Talk Live every Friday, and then right now the rolling goal is the last Friday of every month from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central Time is to do some sort of webinar with a industry expert, another contractor. It might just be us. We might put together, some Trades.Consulting decks where we go over the things that we cover in the newsletter and on the pod. But having some form of more of a masterclass style feel where we do webinars on the last Friday of every month from 3 to 4:30.
I think our ultimate goal, again, with Trades.Consulting is to provide just the most value we can possibly afford to give to our fellow contractors. And so I think every day that I'm doing something like this, if it's a podcast, if it's a webinar, my entire goal is to give away the farm, and bring the most highest level of expertise and value to our fellow contractors, because we think that you guys deserve it, and we want to, we're here to improve together. So I think ultimately that's the goal with the webinars, podcast, all the content we put out, the newsletter. It's really to serve the industry.
So guys, that is pretty much all we got. But before we wrap up, I'm putting everybody on the spot here. I've had a little bit of time to think about it. So
all right,
got the leg up. So Bryce, we're going to start with you, pal. Final thought. What is it could be something encouraging, something challenging, a message to contractors out there in the world. What is your closing thought for today?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Change is constant. Do not shy away from it. I think confront it. I think challenge it. I think work with it. I think that's kind of the message of this entire podcast. And I probably stole that from, Colby was probably going to say something similar. I don't know. But I think ultimately you have to, change as a current, and it gets a lot easier when you swim with the current instead of against it.
Colby, closing thought, challenge, insightful nugget, or just, words of wisdom and encouragement for contractors.
The moment that you leave your ego at the door and be willing to change is the moment that your business is going to get better. And so I would encourage contractors to get out of their own way. You don't I think a lot of contractors are in a position where they're out in the field and they're out selling. They're doing the grunt work. They're working hard. I would encourage them to, as they grow their business and they get to a size where they have internal office staff is you need to be in the office and work with your team and delegate responsibility to your leaders and make leaders out of your team and encourage them on a day-to-day basis to be the best that they can be, so that you can grow the machine as big as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
My closing thought is, guys, operate with transparency in everything that you do. So whether that's your, sharing your financials with your team, whether that's showing a customer a price breakdown as to why you charge what you charge. If you're curious, we're practicing what we preach on the Yarbrough & Sons YouTube channel. We have nearly a 30-minute video of me going through our entire gross margin pricing and why we charge what we charge. And it is hosted on our website, as well as has made several appearances through shorts and Facebook posts and all sorts of stuff. So operate in transparency in everything you do. And I think part of that is extended into GetQuote. Operate with transparency in your pricing. Stand behind what you say, do what you say you're going to do, and operate with character, because that will pay dividends in the world of increasing change, speed of change, and AI kind of slop that's everywhere. The voice of truth and the consistent voice of truth is the one that's going to pierce through the noise. And the only way that you can operate with that level of truth is to be transparent in all that you do and own why you charge what you charge, why you do what you do. And that in and of itself will get you buy-in. So, guys, this wraps up the 13th episode. We are so excited for where we're heading, what we're doing. And ultimately, guys, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. If you want to keep in touch, sign up for the newsletter, The Tune-Up. It is right there at the top of Trades.Consulting. And if you have a specific guest, topic, or issue that you would like for us to discuss, leave it in the comments or shoot us a DM or whatever it is. And we will be as discreet as you would like us to be in the addressing of that topic. But as always, do something nice for somebody. You never know. It might change their life. Eyes up, feet moving. Here we go.